But yes, this is Isaac from IKO Auto, and today we're going to talk about the story of my Saleen, what's been done to it, the story of how I got my hands on it, and where we got to here, and of course, what I plan to do to it in the future. So, let's talk about it. I love this car. I always was kind of a fan of Saleen as I was getting into cars. Like the S7 was a really cool car that my eye when I was very young. All of this molded by, Skylines and Supras. But the Saleen S7 was one that always really caught my eye as well that I really enjoyed. Thought it was really cool, so I really liked Saleen. And then I saw that, yeah, they did modifications of regular cars in the new Edge Mustang version of it. And I absolutely fell in love with the body kit for it. I thought it was just awesome. I mean, the Cobra already looked great, but the Saleen body kit just looked amazing. So where do we start with this car? So before I got my hands on this car, we actually have to talk about the car. I had two cars before it. So I actually started off, God, it's cold. So I started off with we'll start this story with a 1998 Chevy K1500. It was fully loaded. I missed that truck. I never should have sold it. It was a mistake. I'm goofy for having done that. Please roast me because I'm retarded. That truck was amazing, and I sold it, and I still regret selling it because it was such a good truck. But it was too much vehicle for me at the time. I had a lot of stuff in my personal life going on, and I didn't need that while delivering pizzas. So my thought process was I'm going to get something smaller, a car, a two-door, something that's still fun but gets, you know, better than the 9 miles to the gallon I think I was getting on that home city. So I sold that truck and I bought this butt ugly Martian of a car, this purple 2002 V6 Mustang. And like that thing was awful. Hopefully, I'll be posting some pictures of it here around because it was goofy. It had some incredibly goofy stickers on it. It was a really awful color. It was not a good car, but I got it for a really cheap price. It was something that I could work on. It ran reliably, so and that was really the big kicker. It was something that I could improve upon that legitimately ran. Except the problem with that is I started doing work on it. And that's when I looked at the frame and I said, wow, that's been repainted. And I mean, I kind of knew that, but I see three different colors here. And then I looked at the window VIN, and I looked at the door VIN, and then I looked at the chassis, and all three of them were different. And I said, oh shit. So I clearly couldn't keep that anymore, knowing that some form of weird insurance fraud had probably happened to that car at some point in its life. Because, yeah, one VIN came back to a GT, one came back to a green convertible, and one came back to a red coupe. So yeah, couldn't keep that car, sold that, and gentleman was ended up going to go track it because I had to disclose to him, of course, that it had been swapped. Shit was fucked. That is when I started looking for. I really wanted a 350 or 370Z. Another friend of mine had bought one, and I was like, car looks great, platform looks great. Like the Mustang was fun because I had kind of looked at that because some drift stuff was affordable. I was seeing like more and more Mustang stuff become popular within drift. And a friend of mine, another friend, has a V6 drift Mustang. So I figured that was a good little start there. And yeah, I was just searching around Facebook Marketplace, and under a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 post, 2.5, I think 3 hours away, hiding in the mountains of West Virginia, was my Saleen S281. Some guy had bought it because he decided he was going to finally buy a sports car for himself, and he had always wanted one of those as well, but he didn't know how to drive a stick. And so he kept taking it out to drive it, and every time he did, he would stall it like 3, 4 times, and finally he just got to the point where it's like, you know what, I shouldn't own this car. I can't drive it, so I shouldn't own it. So they had some tire kickers, but I jumped right on it. I knew what it was, so it was, fastest car purchase I've ever made. I sent them like half the money up front through PayPal. The next day I was on the road there to pick it up. Picked it up, test drove it. It was amazing. It was exactly as it was described. Needed some love, still needs love, but again, I got it at an amazing price. And actually, I picked that car up for $10,000. I got a true, tried and true Saleen S281. It's not supercharged. I know, it's not supercharged, but I got one for $10,000. It had 126,000 miles on it. Yeah, 126,000 miles on it. When I first got it, it now sits at I think 158. Yeah, no, it had 132 when I bought it. It now sits at 158. But I got it. I got my car. That thing was awesome. I had so much fun with it. Driving it home, checking everything out, taking pictures and all that. The hood latch mechanism actually broke. And so we had to drive slowly to a hardware store so that I could bungee strap the hood to the frame to drive it the rest of the way home. But got it home and it needed a few things. One of the first things I went ahead and did because it was starting to slip a little bit was just go ahead and give it a new clutch, new throw out bearing, all that. So we put a puck style clutch in it, and that did well. The shop did well with that. After driving it around some, I noticed I had like an exhaust leak going on and it was just running a little weird. Upstream oxygen sensors were going off on it. So went to go replace those. I could not get them off. Like they were like the stock ones on it. They were not coming off. So I went back to the shop that did the clutch because I was still living in a small apartment. I didn't have tools like I do now. So I took it to that shop, and they're not going to be named because they made a bunch of mistakes. And I'm going to put it this way. It sat there for 8 weeks. I took the parts. I took the oxygen sensors. I already had them because I tried to replace it myself. When I picked up the car, they were still in the bag in the back seat. That should give us starters. I didn't drive more than I think 3 miles down the road, and all my codes had come right back for the oxygen sensors. It took them 8 weeks to reinstall my broken oxygen sensors onto a junkyard off-road H pipe. They also managed to somehow break multiple wire hangers while doing this. Yeah, it's not a good time. They're not going to get talked about. It was very disappointing. It resulted in me having to go, and I kind of just said screw it and went ahead and just redid the entire exhaust while I was there. So it got a Flowmaster catback exhaust, all brand new. Then driving it back I got to go do a really cool thing with my son. We got to go do a Mustang event at Martinsville Speedway, got to go do hot laps, and that was super fun. On the way back from that, though, I guess I just toyed with it too much. Engine had been abused for a while. I mean, clearly it was a car that was driven. And I guess I threw a rod. It developed rod knock, had to take it out, got a new crated motor for it and a new transmission to pair with it. But yeah, if anyone's keeping tabs now, new exhaust, new clutch, new engine, new transmission. And we did do a new crated engine. I would like to specify that so it makes me real happy. $10,000 into my $10,000 car already. And I still have more to spend. So yeah, and then after that point though, it was doing really good for a while. Got the new motor in it. While we were breaking all of that in, my son and I went up to the mountains to the Blue Ridge Parkway because we wanted to go do some fun spirited driving. And we got behind some traffic, some SUVs and some work vehicles. And I was giving good space, but we were having fun, wasn't quite paying attention like we should have. I mean, we were only going 35, but there wasn't enough time to react. There was cars behind us, and it's small, narrow mountain road, so there's cars also on the other side passing us, and we run over this giant rock in the middle of the road. I can't go to the left because it's like in the middle of the lane. So I hit it, smack it, drag it, fully run over it. Hear awful sounds, be scared, but the car's driving, car's functioning, it's got power, everything's there. But I notice that my fuel gauge starts going down faster. Well, not faster, but a lot faster than it should be. Like it's going down. It's clearly going down. I had a full tank. It is the gauge is leaving the chat. So I drive and I get it all the way up to a gas station, like right as I think it hits empty, and pull over, turn it off, coast it in neutral into the little gas station spot, and I go to fill it up, and it only takes like $7. It's like, okay, well, clearly I'm not leaking then, and it's still running. Me and my son had fun. We drove it back home, and it drove fine. Just said that we were empty the whole way home. So Got it home, got to looking at it, and it dented my gas tank and absolutely destroyed like the fuel sending unit. Pump and everything was still fine, of course, but like the leveling unit and such was just is gone. It was floating around in there having a grand old time. So I mean, my infinite wisdom, instead of just replacing it with another stock gas tank and a new leveling unit, no, this is my race car. I'm gonna have fun with it. I gutted the trunk, gutted the back seat, and we found a stop sign and made bolts and drilled for that to bolt it to the frame of the car above the trunk wheel well. Yeah. And then of course I got off and measured for a fuel cell that we bought on like I think Amazon worst part, so that we could run it and all the lines, of course, for it as well. Took that and a new Walbro fuel pump, inline fuel pump up under it, fuel filters, of course, and all that, and re-ran it entirely. So now that car has a independent fuel system on it from mounted in the trunk down under along the old lines back up into the new fuel rail. So did that, and of course that was a little interesting. It was running weird, so I had to go get it tuned. Well, even after getting it tuned, he was like, it's still running a little weird. We tuned it, but it was being kind of inconsistent. Shout out to that tuner for not, diagnosing that at all. Appreciate that. Because we had to figure it out. And what we figured out is right at the fuel rail when we reinstalled it on the new motor. I don't know how or when, but we had like jacked that connection by like 90 degrees. Like it was almost completely crimped. So what was happening is like it just fuel wasn't being able to flow as much as it should have at times. So it was because it just was hitting this kink basically in the line. So completely redid that. New fuel rail for it. Ran great, and that's where I dailied it for like a year and a half straight, pretty reliably. It was my daily car. Yeah, it was great. The only thing that went out on it, the emergency brake line, that got worn out, and it was actually trying to hold the caliper a little bit, so I had to replace that. That's actually still out. It hasn't fully been replaced. It's been removed, but it hasn't been installed yet again. We just park on level surfaces, safety. Through all this, I I was dailying that car, so I wasn't probably checking in on it like I should have. And it overheated on me. And that's where we're kind of at now. It overheated, got home, cooled off, started right back up, started diagnosing everything, realized that the radiator fan wasn't activating at all and it was getting real hot. Checked my coolant, realized that, like, oh, hey, there is none in the reservoir. So I identified first that I don't have a coolant leak. So we identified that, and then that's where kind of my series has started now with us on the shitbox repair, trying to get it back up and running, because now we're encountering a overheating issue that's pretty bad, and this is really frustrating because it's almost done. But that's where we so yeah, that's the story of how I got my Saleen and where it's at right now. Now, things for the future is, like I did mention it, is I want to slide in this car. I want this car to go drift. So we're all ready. We just need a few safety things. We need a new wheel, of course. We need a harness. We need a seat, fire extinguisher, easy things, cheap things. But the big thing is we still need to get suspension and an angle kit. And other than that, she's ready to rip. I could probably go take it now, and I probably should, but I don't, because it's overheating and it's being inconsistent. I want it to run reliably before I try to beat the shit out of it first. I need to have a baseline, so if anything else goes wrong, I know how to correctly diagnose. And then, yeah, it's so, because of this car also, it's the one that I've gotten my hands dirtiest in. Absolutely starting to become like the icon for my dealership and this brand. I love this car. I'll never get rid of this thing. But clip it. Yeah, thank you so much for hanging around and listening to my aimless ramblings of an old man. Please go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that like. Thank you all.